Hey guys, Gathering Magic back again, and this is part one of my shopping list for my $10 account. Didn't know it was going to be this involved. Let me go through my notes real quick. I wanted to start at the beginning and just go oldest set to newest set as far as cards that I would target and why. I didn't think it would take me this long to go through this entire list, but as you know, we have a lot of sets to go through, so I kind of ignored Alpha, simply because Alpha is just more expensive than Beta, and they're basically a copy of the same cards. Would love to own the Alpha cards, but at least for me, for a $10 account, I wanted to start with Beta. So in this video, we're going to be going through the Beta common and rare cards that I would target for my $10 account. Part 2 will go through Untamed, and then part 3 will go through Chaos Legion and Rebellion. So let's start with Beta. So for my $10 account, I'm only going to focus on the core cards, reward, and promo. I'm going to leave Essence Orbs probably for part 2 as well. Just looking at regular foil, not looking at gold foil, and looking at just commons and rares, because these are, of course, more affordable for my $10 account. And since they are betas, I only need 5 copies if I want to get to level 3, which is max bronze. For the rares, for the most part, I only want 1 copy. I could go for extra copies to get them max bronze, but you really just need 1 copy. Okay, so let's start with the commons. So the first common that I would target would be the Baby Unicorn. So the reason I want to target this card is it's cheap, 3 mana, decent speed and health, so it's good for Little League, and it's going to boost all of your other units by 1. So if you have one of those situations where you've got a decent amount of mana, let's say you've got 30 some mana, but you're playing in Little League, it'd be nice to boost all of your monsters. This isn't a high target card for me. There's other cards that I would want to get before this, but it is one that if you don't have it in your collection, it would not hurt just having a single copy. Exploding Dwarf, definitely want to get level 3 for the piercing ability. Exploding Dwarf is nice on its own, but the problem you get is, okay, what happens if you're playing against Kelly and they've got that annoying +1 armor? If you get him to level 3, which is max bronze, you get the piercing ability. So you don't want to just have him at level 1. Get him to level 3. He's going to gain 2 speed, which is so important that he attacks first or early in the round. He's also great in melee, can attack from anywhere, but if you're forced to put him in the front, you definitely want to have him level 3, and you want to have that piercing ability. Okay, next, Giant Rock. Kind of an overlooked card. I don't think a lot of people play this card. I really wish it was 4 mana, not 5, but that being said, to be able to attack from the second position and to have flying, there's a lot of rule sets, of course, where or a lot of times you'll come up against, Earthquake. So, again, not a high target card, but just to have, a card that can attack from the second position and have flying, if you don't have him on your account, go ahead and pick him up. Once again, not a high priority card, but a nice card to have a single copy of. Molten Ogre. This card I like. Let's see, where did he go? Molten Ogre. I believe he's a fire card. But the reason I like him is for the Demoralize. Not seeing him now. But yeah, Molten Ogre for the Demoralize. Animated Corpse. Like this card simply because 4 mana, 2 attack, decent health, great for Little League, for those, or, our low mana match. Yeah, he's slow, but, reverse speed helps. But to get 6 health and 2 attack for 4 mana for a level 1 is pretty good, so that's why I like that card. Would target him over some of the other cards, but, definitely not the highest on the list. Wood Nymph, what needs to be said? Tank heal, 1 magic damage, Little League, that's a great card. What else do we've got? Screeching Vulture, Haunted Spider. I like the Haunted Spider. simply because you get that 2 range damage right off the bat. You know, a lot of times if you get a level 1 card, you're only doing 1 damage. To get 2 damage, Little League 3 mana for 20 cents, it's pretty good. Pirate Captain, if you guys have followed my channel, you know Pirate Captain was a card that I used at the beginning of this account. I would rent the gold foil alpha card of this, so I would get the 10% bonus. With him being gold, he was automatically giving me 2 range damage. Snipe damage, only costs 3 mana. I won so many matches because of him. So if you don't have Pirate Captain on your $10 account for Wild, you definitely want to get a level 2 Pirate Captain to get that 2 range damage. Cannot overemphasize that enough, how important that was for me when I started this account. What other ones? Gelatinous Cube. Simply, it's a big neutral blocker. The other card I would also target that people may not think they kind of pair together is, I wonder if he's the rare. So the rare version of him is, or not the rare, but the odd version of him is, or am I not seeing it? So you've got the Gelatinous Cube for the even rule set, the Peaceful Giant for the odd rule set. So you want to go with the cube for 6 mana for the evens, and then if you come up against the same thing where it's like melee can't attack and it's odd rule set, go with the Peaceful Giant. One of the cards that I would target high on the list if you're looking for a $10 account would be the Sea Monster. It's great at level 1, but I really needed to get it to level 3 simply to get that 1 extra health, because now it's going to be healing for 3 instead of 2. Great card to have even if you only have 1 copy. But like I said, if you can just, afford to get 4 more copies, get that extra health, that 1 extra health really makes a huge difference. So that's definitely one that I'm targeting. That's why I've got a star by it. I really want to get this one to level 3. Elven Cutthroat, a nice little sneak attack neutral card. So that's definitely a card that, you should target as well. Very cheap, just 1 copy, just to be able to have, another sneak card on your team. Same thing with the Skeleton Assassin. I play the Death Splinter a lot, so being able for 3 mana to get basically a copy of the Cutthroat that's just a little bit more resilient and a little bit faster. Love that card. Divine Healer. If you can get your Divine Healer to level 3, you want to get it to level 3 to get the +1 magic damage. So not only are you using it as a healer, you're also being able to do a little bit of damage. Just a great overall card. With the heal, decent hit points. And then you throw in +1 attack, or melee, or excuse me, magic damage. Just makes it an overall great card. So definitely Divine Healer. Silver Shield Knight. So this is a card I use a lot in Splinter Forge. I like having it at level 3. Just to get that extra attack. So then when it buffs itself, you're really doing 3 melee damage. You're inspiring the entire team. So this is just a great card. It's a little bit pricey at 6, so you're not going to be able to use it all the time. Maybe in bronze if you have lower mana matches. But still, if you're in the 20+ mana range, get a level 3 Silver Shield Knight. Great card. Then rounding this out, the Goblin Shaman. Once again, it's a common, so you can get it to level 3, get that +1 magic. So kind of like the opposite of the healer, instead of healing, the tank, now you're weakening the entire team on the other side. So I love using this card. When I first started playing, I came up against Goblin Shaman a lot, and people had it level 3, so they were not only weakening my entire team, but he was also hitting me for that 1 magic damage. So that's another card you really want to target to get that card to level 3 for the Goblin Shaman. Flesh Golem. What else needs to be said? I think everybody knows about the Flesh Golem. You want to get that to level 3. You only need 5 copies to get that self-heal, and it's surprisingly very cheap. I thought this card would be at least $1 or $2 per copy. You're looking at, maybe 55 to 60 cents. So for under $3, you can get a very good tank. You're doing 2 damage, good hit points, healing itself. This thing's going to be hard to get through. So Flesh Golem is definitely a card to target for this account. One card I thought I had, but I don't, is the Cobalt Miner. Very low mana. There's a lot of times where I just have 2 mana left, and I don't have any cards that I like to fill that slot. Cobalt Miner is really going to help me fill that slot. Love to get him to level 3 to get that extra 2 damage. Even level 1 is fine for now. But yeah, I definitely want to get him to level 3. So to be able to do 2 damage, sneak for 2 mana is fantastic. So this is another card that I would put high on the list if I haven't already. Yep, definitely I'm going to put a star by that Cobalt Miner. Dragon Scale. So this is the first summoner that I'm looking at. It's a common dragon, so it's always good to have a dragon summoner. +1 magic is huge. And I only need 5 copies. So normally for, summoners, well, I guess if this was rare, it would take 5 copies to get him for max bronze. So you can do 3 copies and get mid bronze, but I'm looking to max out my bronze account. So 5 copies, he's very affordable, being a common. So looking at, 76 cents. So, for under $4, $3.50, you can get a max level bronze summoner that is going to buff your entire team with +1 magic. And then finally for the commons, and remember guys, these are all commons. These cards, some of these cards I think should be rare. They're that good and that useful, but back in beta these were only commons, is Crustacean King. So once again, this is a common, so if you get it to level 3, which is max bronze, you're going to get +1 ranged. So he's got that 1 point of armor that's very important, heals your tank, and then +1 range. So Crustacean King is the last card that I have for bronze. So this is a pretty good list. Like I said, there's some cards in here. It's nice to have just 1 copy, just to have them. But some of them, it's key to have them at level 3. Like Baby Unicorn, I wouldn't mess just getting 1 copy. If you can get a level 3 and get that, plus health, that's great. Well, I think the reason I put Baby Unicorn level 3 is I think it does get an attack. Let's look at that real quick. Yeah, +1 melee. So just 1 copy of Baby Unicorn is but if you can get it to level 3 and get that +1 melee, and throw it in the rule set where melee can attack from any position, plus you're strengthening your team a little bit, that helps. So those are the commons. So the rares, like I said, the rares you really only need 1 copy of. When I went through the list, I really didn't see any of these cards that gave you a specific buff or advantage for going from level 1 to level 2. I may have to go through this again to see if that is the case, but as far as I can tell, just having a single copy in the $10 account is really going to help out. The first card I want to look at is Naga Windmaster. This card I think is great. I'm surprised I really don't see it at all. Little League, it's got the 4 mana, so it fits in Little League, and it's got Headwinds. So anytime you can get an ability like Headwinds for 1 copy of a card, I think you should do it. Fantastic, of course, in the ranged only rule set. I'm really surprised I don't see this card hardly at all in bronze. But, this is definitely a card that I would pick up. In fact, I think it's so important, I'm going to highlight it. Because there are a lot of times it's ranged only. So if I can throw this guy in, this is fantastic. One of the reasons I love, what is that Riftwatcher card that gives Headwinds? Queen of Crows. She gives Headwinds, but she doesn't give it until level 3, I believe. This guy gives it right off the bat, so I really like Naga Windmaster. Flame Imp, want to get this card as well. Low mana, it's flying, and people don't really think of magic when they think of fire, but there are some really good fire magic cards for Little League. As you can see on the screen, another card that I listed is Beetle Queen. So if you have a magic only rule set, a lot of times people will overlook red, but there are some good fire cards that you can get in Little League and do a little bit of damage. Cockatrice, another reason I like this card, like I said earlier, there's a lot of times I'll have 2 mana and I won't have a good card to put in that spot. If melee can attack from anywhere, of course this is good to put in the back. You can use this as just a sneak blocker or whatever. But, just being neutral, just being able to put that on any team, 2 mana. Cockatrice is definitely good. Some other ones I looked at. Undead Archer. That is a card. Of course, now I'm not seeing it. But anyway, Undead Archer, it's a death card. Oh, I think the reason is I think someone bought the last copy. But Undead Archer is a good card. I don't see it on the screen. It is death. Huh, not sure, I'm not seeing it. But Undead Archer is a great card. Another one, I think it only costs 2 mana for the death team, Little League, and it has Affliction. So that is huge. Oh, I know why I'm not seeing it. I think that is actually, it might be an orb card. Let me click off of this. There it is, Undead Archer. Oh, it's a promo card. But this is a card that I really want to get to because it's low mana. Of course, it's range, so if you have that ranged only rule set. But there's not many cards, at least for death, or maybe some other splinters as well, that gives you Affliction right off the bat. So there's a lot of times where it's like I really want to be able to make sure that he can't heal his tank. So just a single copy of the Undead Archer, I think it would be key to get. Octopiter. Not really high on my list, but if you have a high mana match, to be able to get that +3 range damage right off the bat is key. Silver Shield Bard, I do have one copy of this for the cleanse. So a cleanse just for 1 mana, I mean, just throw it in. Great card to have. One card I was debating about putting on my shopping list or not. You guys can tell me if you would get this card. Clay Golem, simply for the Void. There's a lot of times where I've played Life and I come up against, like a high magic damage team and I just get wiped out. He's not the most resilient tank. He doesn't have armor, only 7 health. But in a, I guess, low to medium mana rule set, if you know you're going to come up against a magic team, he might be good to throw in. I didn't put him on my list, but you guys can if you think he's worth it. Stone Golem, just for the shield. Like I said earlier, Beetle Queen. I just love that. Little League. Doesn't have a lot of hit points, but just being able to get that 1 range mana damage or magic damage, put him in the middle of your team or towards the back. Maybe he's a blocker for a turn or two. Like I said, being able to do magic damage, especially in bronze, is key. So, and a lot of people don't expect to come up against magic damage when they fight fire. Pirate Archer, great card. Like I said, another card I need to pick up. Only 2 mana with that blast. Just a single copy is fine. Silver Shield Assassin. I remember when this card was a lot pricier. This was a several dollar card. High mana, so can't use it in every deck, but you guys know. Double strike, sneak. Pair him with an Inspire and you're doing 2 damage per attack. So that's a great card. Boogeyman, another great beta rare. Being able to slow your enemy plus do 2 magic damage. Definitely a card to target. Crystal Werewolf, once again, a card for 1 single copy that gives you an ability like Silence, Headwinds, anything that takes out an entire type of damage that your opponent can do to you. Reduce it by 1 is key. And like I said, it's a great Little League card. It's got decent hit points and a Silence. Definitely a card to get just 1 copy of. Peacebringer, this card I've come up against a lot in bronze. Especially with General Sloan. You've got a Little League card that's going to be hitting you for 3 damage per attack. So 1 copy of the Peacebringer. Dragonling Bowman, single copy of this, Little League. And there's not very many cards that can sneak with a ranged attack. So if you're coming up against rule sets where it's like melee not allowed, you think, okay, well, I'm safe from sneak and that. You can really surprise your opponent when you start hitting his back line with 1 range damage. Serpentine Mystic, like I said, another time where if you can get magic in bronze, you want to get magic damage. It's dragon, so maybe you're not going to use it a whole lot if you're not playing dragon in the lower leagues in bronze. but that Affliction is nice to have. Some other cards I targeted. Naga Fire Wizard, once again. Magic damage for fire. You really don't think about it, but it is, could be a thing. A little bit higher mana cost, but sometimes you get those 99 mana matches in bronze, and then the shield just, to me, just makes it even better. Not only does it have shield, but it actually does have 1 armor, so pretty resilient card. Throw it towards the back of your team, and you start hitting for 2 magic damage around. I already own the chicken. If I didn't, I would tell you guys chicken is a must-have, and especially at this price, just over $1. So you always want to have a chicken, no matter what account you have. Just get 1 copy of it. Water Elemental, to me, I think this would be about a perfect card, 10 out of 10 if it was 4 mana. But being 5 makes more sense. I mean, you've got great speed, decent hit points, 2 range damage, heals itself. This card is super, super resilient. I see it a lot. I play against it a lot. I know how annoying it is, so I definitely want to get a copy of the Water Elemental. Twisted Jester, I do have a copy of this card. I love being able to do 2 sneak damage right off the bat with a single copy. Perfect for Little League, fits right in with the 4 mana, okay speed, decent hit points. I use this card all the time for the Death Team. Medusa is a card I need to pick up. Once again, Little League, 1 range or 1 magic damage. Undead Priest, there's a lot of times, like I said, you need to just 2 mana, and there's just nothing viable. There are ways, of course, in Death where you can weaken your opponent. If you can throw in an extra weaken, throw in this guy with Thaddeus Brood, now all of a sudden his entire team has -2 health. And especially in Bronze, where you're fighting a lot of lower level creatures, with 3, 4, 5 hit points. Now they've got 1, 2, 3 hit points instead of 3, 4, 5. This makes a huge, huge difference. So very affordable card. 2 mana. Like I said, this will win you a lot of games in Bronze, being able to weaken your opponent with this on top of Thaddeus Brood. Enchanted Pixie. I think this is another card that I had starred. Yep, so Enchanted Pixie, Little League. I mean, what more do you want? Little League, neutral, you can put it in any deck. Flying, 1 magic damage. Just such a great card. I mean, for me, it's a little bit more pricey, being over $1, but yeah, this is definitely a card that I need to target. For Summoner, I do have a Zintar, so if you don't have a Zintar, definitely get a Zintar for max bronze. Most of the attacks you fight in bronze, for the most part, a lot of people, of course, are going to go melee. There are so many times that I've won games simply because I've had this card. When it's, melee only, I'll throw Zintar in. Pretty much I'm going to win. So definitely get this card. Get 5 copies of this card. Get it max for bronze, and you will do very, very well in melee. Only rule sets. Tyrus I don't have. I definitely want to get him for the +1 shield and being 3 cost, just to give my deck some more variety for life. So I definitely want to pick him up. Haunted Spirit. When I first started playing the game 2 years ago, one of the things I always came up against in the Death Team was people always had Haunted Spirit right in the front, and it was so hard to get through this card. With the 7 health and the heal, I learned very quickly when I first started playing Splinterlands, this was a card that you want to get, and you almost never see it now in Wild, so this is a good alternative to Curse Wendigo. If you get tired of playing that, just to maybe kind of throw your opponent off a little bit, definitely a nice card to have. Unlike, melee can attack from anywhere rule sets, you can put him in the last position, attack with him. If he's got sneak, he's going to keep hitting him, and you're going to keep healing the Haunted Spirits. This is going to be very annoying. So good card to just get a single copy of. One card was high on my list, and actually I just made a note of it, that I just purchased it, was Prismatic Energy. I was sick of fighting against magic-only rule sets and losing to people that had Prismatic Energy, and would simply put this card in the front. I have to hit it with magic, and then of course I'm hitting myself and killing myself. So just a single copy. I can't wait to use this again when I fight my next magic-only rule set and see how I do. I think I'm going to do a lot better. Of course, I just mentioned I already have a Zintar key. I'm not into the +1 health for this card, so not really targeting her. Mushroom Seer, I do have a copy of that card. You only need one copy, and once again, if you can get an ability like Silence or Headwinds that it affects the entire opposing team for a single copy of a card, you want to get it. So Mushroom Seer is a great card. Like I said, you can't use it in Little League, but just being able to silence your other team, 2 magic damage, this card has won me a lot of battles. And the final card that I want to go over is Cerberus. This is another card when I first started playing 2 years ago. Came up against this card constantly and lost more times than I won. Doesn't have the highest hit points, but great for Little League. 2 damage right off the bat, and that self-heal is so key. So I think that is the last card that I want to go over. Yep. So we'll show this page, so if you guys want to screenshot it or just pause the video and take a look. So these are all the rares in case there's one or two that I didn't go through. And this is basically the reason why I would get the card. If for some reason you want to get it at a certain level, mostly it's for the commons. I've highlighted, specifically why you would want to get level 3 and the reason why. So this is just part of the shopping list. So this is just going through beta. So I thought I was going to go through my entire list of all the sets in one video, but then I just realized there's just too many cards to look for. This list might be surprisingly shorter with the newer sets. But like I said, one of the things I love about beta is the fact that you only need 5 cards to get a level 3 common. That is so key. Once you start getting into Untamed, there's a lot of great Untamed cards. But the problem is now you're looking at, okay, now I need 14 copies of something to max it out instead of simply 5. So next episode we'll go through Untamed. We'll go through the commons and rares that I would target for my $10 account. Right now I'm going to wait for the price of SPS to go up a little bit. It's dipped down. In fact, I think I saw it earlier this morning, actually under 3 cents. So we were up to about 3.8. So I don't want to spend my SPS with the market being down. I want to wait for this to rebound a little bit. So once we get back up into the 3.5, maybe getting closer to 4 cent range, then I'll definitely use my SPS and purchase some cards. But that is all for part 1. I know it's a little bit of a longer video, but it's very important to go through information like this, especially for people like me that are playing in bronze in some of the lower leagues. I don't know how many people actually play in wild, but I surprisingly do very well in wild, and I don't have, a huge diversity of cards. I've got some betas and I've got some untamed, but I think if you can really fill out your beta deck and your untamed with just commons and maybe a couple rares here and there, you can be very, very competitive in bronze wild. So that's all I have for you guys in this episode. Stay tuned in a few more days, and I will come out with part 2. We'll go through Untamed, and then part 3 we'll go through Chaos Legion and Rebellion. So hope you guys are doing well. Please leave any comments or questions that you have down below, and I will answer those as soon as I can. And until next time, stay the course, keep on forging, have fun. We'll see you soon.